Hey guys, here for another species spotlight. Today we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite Mexican black king snakes. I think these guys are awesome. I wish I had a pair, to be completely honest with you, but I just have this guy. This is O'Malley, which if any of you guys know me or are frequencers of like online stuff, you might know why I decided to name him O'Malley. But if you have, let me know down below in the comments whether or not you have or not, and you might be in a little bit on the secret. Anyway, let's get right into it. So, the Mexican black king snake. These guys have gotten... What are you doing, you weirdo? Oh, well, that's okay. So, this will actually work for our benefit. So, these guys, Mexican black king snakes, they're in the Lampropeltis genus, which is, king snakes and milk snakes. Lampropeltis, in Latin, essentially means, like, shield or shiny belly. So, hopefully, the camera's picking this up. You can kind of see this iridescence of their belly. And that's what's really cool about them. I know iridescence is basically just a sign of a healthy snake, but these guys have a very shiny belly. And a lot of king snakes and milk snakes have that too, but it's really prominent on the Mexican black king snakes because these guys are known to be just super black. There can be a little bit of like variation in patterning and a little bit of coloration on their bellies, on their sides. There's even a T-positive morph of these guys where it's kind of like this, like a dark maroony purple color, which is really cool. But anyway, these guys are indigenous to, the lower part of the United States and into Mexico, hence Mexican black king snake. There's been a lot of good documentation of these guys integrating, which means interbreeding with California and desert king snakes where their ranges overlap. And so we're starting to see a lot of natural hybrids in between these guys. So they're not really pure Mexican black king snakes anymore. And, as habitat loss and everything else goes like that, it's possibly going to get to the point where the only pure Mexican black king snakes kind of around, at least in the United States anymore, will be in captivity in the hobby. But these guys are super cool. There's been kind of like a resurgence in colubrid popularity in the last 4 or 5 years. And really, these guys are a big part of that. Like, he's slow grown. He's about 2.5 years old, maybe 3 years old. But they only get 3 or 4 years. They only get about 3-4 feet, which is why they make good pets. But, 4 or 5 years ago, these guys, they were going for about $50-$60. And I think that's about what I picked this guy up for. But now they've gotten super popular. And I think a lot of that's because of overseas sales. A lot of people in Asia are really starting to get into North American colubrids. So we're starting to see, just individual babies going between $180 and $300, depending on where you're getting them from and stuff like that. I think I saw the other day, someone was selling just a pair of subadult Mexican black king snakes for, I think it was $500 or $600. It was crazy. But that's the reason why I only have just this one boy, because it's going to be a hefty price tag to get a female at some point, unless I get, especially if I get an adult, because he's good to go for breeding size. So if I get an adult female Mexican black king snake, it's going to cost a little bit of a pretty penny to get one. But these guys are great beginner pets. Their care is just very, very similar to the kings and corns and milks, like a lot of other, North American colubrids. More temperate range is good for temps. They still need a hot spot in the 90s. Please make sure you give them that humid hide. It is important that they still get that, even though these guys are technically a desert species. They're not out in the desert all day long. They still go into their dens and in rocks and under logs and stuff when they're not out sunning or actively hunting. So you still need to give them that little microclimate of they need that humidity and they need that temperature variation. Always remember to give clean water and stuff like that. Like I said, they don't get very large, which makes them great pets if you don't, you're not ready for a big snake. Even in king snakes, like the colubrid, like the black milks or Honduran milk snakes or the Brooks Kings or Florida king snakes, those guys can get quite a bit larger, as we saw with our Brooks King snake video that we did a while ago. They're probably close to the same age, and you can see just how big of a difference in size they are, just, for where they are. But I hope you guys like this little video about the Mexican black king snake. These guys are super popular, our brand new poor man's indigo. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you had any specific questions or comments, let me know down below. Please like and subscribe if you can. If you hit that little bell, it does help me out. Otherwise, YouTube never knows that I exist, and so that way it doesn't kind of help things further down the road. Check you guys next time. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you later.